Today, I want to talk about karmic relationships and situations and what they mean and how we could handle them. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Leora Alexandra. Welcome to the Baby Elephant community. On this channel, we talk about the law of attraction, self-development, lots of spirituality, and anything that makes us our greatest version ever. I'm back at my childhood home today. I'm hanging out with my mom and with my grandparents, as I do often, as you guys know. And, my dog is walking in a puddle of water. So being back at my childhood home and having a conversation earlier today with my friend about her relationship with her mom, her toxic relationship with her mom and her living situation, got me thinking that I really wanted to do a video about something like this. Something about karmic relationships, understanding the relationships in our lives. But the first thing I want to say is I want to give a huge, important disclaimer. This disclaimer is that if you are in an abusive relationship or situation, circumstances, location, and that is emotionally abusive, physically, mentally abusive, whatever it is, remove yourself from that situation. I am not in any way saying stay in this situation to learn from it. I do think that we choose everything that happens to us, but where we are in the time on this planet, we can remove ourselves physically from that situation. We have the ability and the power to make this happen, to truly remove ourselves from that negative, abusive situation, and still learn from it through observation at a distance. So I am not saying to stay in abusive relationships, in any kind of relationships, abusive familial relationships, romantic relationships. I am not saying to stay in negative, harmful, dangerous situations, because you'll learn from it. Because you will learn from them regardless, even at a distance. That being said, let me explain what I mean. So this belief has been a belief of mine for years, and only recently, as my consciousness has expanded, I've decided and become more familiar with the fact that for myself, at where my consciousness level is right now, this is true. This is truth. And that belief is that we reincarnate with different karma to work out, different lessons that we want to learn, different things that we desire to experience. And my belief is that we choose everything that we go through. We choose our families, we choose the hardships we face, and we basically get to go into this spiritual training ground that is Earth and play out all that karma, play out all those relationships, and experience contrast, experience duality, and experience returning to source by raising our vibration and understanding what is really important, what really matters. I believe that we chase our entire lives, chase material possessions and possessing other people, however long we can take it, until we finally have like a consciousness shift and we start to understand what reality really is and why we're here. So keeping in mind that this world is a spiritual training ground and that we chose everything that we experience, we can improve our negative situations and our negative relationships and grow from them. In fact, we are meant to. I'll take this as far as to say that the most triggering relationship in your life was handcrafted by you, by who you really are, this greater aspect of yourself, with all your guides and all the angels and source itself, to create growth and to experience what you're meant to experience once you get through it, once you transcend and grow from it. Now, the kind of relationship I'm talking about is, maybe having negative parents or somebody toxic in your life, a love relationship that you can't seem to get out of. You keep going back to this person and you're not learning that it's not the right relationship from you. You keep being hurt by the same person. Or if you're seeing the same thing happen to you over and over again with different people. Karmic situations are like that. Until we learn the lesson we are meant to learn, until we fully feel that experience, we will continue to feel it through different situations. Now, for example, my friend, she really wants to move out of her house. She has a beautiful home that she lives in. She has everything that she needs. but she doesn't feel good there. The energy in the house is bad, and that is because of her toxic relationship with her mother. her mother is going through her own things. She's had a hard life. She's had hard things happen to her. And her mom is kind of playing out her own karma on her daughter. But it is so obvious from an outside perspective, and to my friend, it's so obvious that this relationship is karmic in nature, because it is so triggering and it brings out all the negativity of my friend. All the darkness that she holds in her soul comes out every time she interacts with her mom. So her major desire is to leave, to move out, and she's trying to get the resources and the finances to be able to do that. So on one hand, I did tell her, you know, this is running away from your problems. On the other hand, if she's in an emotionally abusive situation and she feels pain and harmed every single day from her relationship with her mom, remove yourself from that situation. Find a way to leave and then deal with those emotions. If you're not in an emotionally abusive or physically abusive situation and you're just receiving negativity from your family or receiving negativity from your partner, then there is, or bad things are coming out of you, like in any interaction with them, you find yourself becoming the worst version of yourself. That is a clear sign that this is a karmic situation, a karmic relationship, and that you have to learn how to grow from it. You have to learn how to be the most compassionate you can possibly be in this situation. My own mom, my mom is one of my best friends in the world. I treasure her so dearly, but our relationship, and being back at my childhood home brings that up, our relationship has been difficult in the past because we trigger each other. But we chose each other. She chose to be my mother and I chose her to be my mom because of that triggering. And we have to get through those triggers in order to learn about ourselves and in order to transcend in our own paths, our own journey. With me and my mom, I learned that I have to find compassion. With the most triggering person in my life, I have to find more and more and more compassion. And I have to love her more and more. I have to love her harder. Now, mind you, our relationship was not abusive in any way, so there's that. You can take that out of it. I was not abused, so I did not run away from abuse or anything like that. But we just had a triggering relationship, and it's like I was so zen all the time, but when it came to interacting with my mom, the worst part of myself would come up. Now, that has nothing to do with her. It's not her fault at all. It's me. It's our relationship. It's our karmic relationship. I had to experience those things. How are you going to experience the karma? How are you going to experience that negative aspect of yourself that has to be brought up, observed, and let go or integrated without that trigger? We have to be grateful for our triggers in life. And usually, the way to understand whether somebody's our trigger or not is to become more mindful and present. If you are living in the present moment and you are aware of your interactions with people, you're not living in the autopilot mind anymore. You're living from a conscious place. You can recognize relationships and situations that are meant to trigger you. The first step is becoming aware of them. The second step is becoming even more present, even more mindful, and understanding that you can become free of this relationship as long as you tap into that awareness and observation. So you observe it, you see, oh, anger is coming out of me, impatience is coming out of me, jealousy is coming out of me, frustration, irritability is coming out of me. Where is that coming from? What does this say about myself? What does this say about my relationship? What does that say about where I am in my life right now? Where can I soften? Where can I be softer? Usually, when you just become aware of the situation, the answers immediately come up for you. For some people, it might come on the spot. For me, very often it comes on the spot. I have this awareness like, oh, I'm supposed to learn this from this situation. Or, oh, this is preparing me to receive what I asked for 3 weeks ago. Now, for others, the answer might come down the line. They might receive that guidance from an external resource or from internal intuition or from synchronicities or from meditation. The answer comes to you one way or another when you are ready for it, when you open yourself up to it. But you first have to become very observant and aware of the fact that you live in a spiritual training ground, that this world is a spiritual training ground, and every relationship you have is meant to mirror something back to you and to make you a greater person, to make you closer to your higher self, to bring that higher self down and to raise your physical lower self up. To meet in the middle, to become this person who can enjoy this physical three-dimensional reality to the best of your abilities. And that's when alignment gets in. That's when your vibration is raised, when you're realizing that the negative situations are the things that make you grow the most, the things that make you a better person. It's so true that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, as cliche as that sounds. These things that were created to trigger us make us the best versions of ourselves. They bring us closer to source, they bring us closer to truth, and they make us feel just so much more pure, cleansed out, and healed. My relationship with my mom now fulfills me. I am so fulfilled by it. When I see her, all the things in my body light up, and all I feel is compassion and love, unconditional love for this beautiful human. And that's because I had to become aware of the things that were triggered within me. And with that comes an awareness that it's not the other person. Nobody else has to change. You have to change. You have to decide, how am I going to react to this situation? Am I going to remove myself from this relationship completely? Does it no longer serve me at all in any way? Is there no growth there? Am I going to grow from transcending this, or am I just putting up with bad behavior? It's all up to you. And then you make the decisions that get you exactly where you are meant to be. Now, how this relates to law of attraction and manifesting is, I always say this. Sometimes we're here and we want to be here, and we have to go through all of this to get over here. And within this journey, a lot of things are triggered within us, and we get triggered through relationships, through external things that come up. And if we don't deal with them, if we don't face them head on, they'll continue. So maybe you were this low, but instead of dealing with the low, instead of accepting where you are and understanding that it's part of the process, you ran away from it. You moved out of the house just to get away from your mom, instead of, being like, let's work on this relationship. Let's see what we have to do here to get ourselves to a better place. Then what happens is that situation continues and you stay here. Instead of coming up here, you stay here. You're running away just like this. And the thing that you desire is over here. So how will you ever reach it? Now, the way that this works in karma is that the same situation is going to keep coming to you over and over and over again until you are able to get through it. You will be in a loop. Much like how I was in a loop of cheating boyfriends. Boyfriend after boyfriend cheated on me the same time of the year, the same way. I found out about it the same way, and I felt the same again and again and again. It was the same exact situation, different faces. This will happen to you. A similar thing happened with Aaron, in Aaron's story with his stepmom and his manager and all this stuff. When you don't deal with the emotions from one karmic relationship or one karmic situation or one theme in your life, it will continue to become a theme. That situation, that relationship will suddenly come from different areas. So I told my friend, you can move out. Listen, she's dealing with emotionally abusive situation. So I do think now that she should move out, but then she should work on this relationship with her mom, because her mom is hurting too. And her mom needs her help to return to herself and to learn what she needs to learn. But before understanding that this was an emotionally abusive relationship, I told her, if you just run away from this, the person that is going to be your roommate is going to make you feel exactly the way that your mom made you feel, because that's how karma works. It continuously shows up in our lives through different people and different situations until we deal with it, until we come to terms with what we are meant to learn. And the way that you learn from these things is by observing them, becoming patient with yourself, mindful, and having compassion for yourself, realizing, like, what is this thing that my higher self wants me to learn so bad? Why do I keep putting myself in this situation? What is the trigger? What is the lesson here? What can I get from this? How can I grow, and how can I behave differently? How can I treat this situation in a way that won't continue the loop? What are the solutions? Let's get a solution. Let's become honest with ourselves and get a solution. Come to a solution. That's when you're going to break the loop. That's when you're going to find yourself. And that's when you're going to rise up here. and become exactly the person you were always meant to be and always wanted to be, getting all the things that you want to be, living a life of alignment and joy and pure unconditional bliss and love. That's it for me on karmic relationships today. If you want another video on this and if you have questions, leave them down below. I will collect them and maybe I'll do a Friday Q&A about them so that I can refine this concept and make sure that you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, exactly what I mean. Remember, if you are in an abusive relationship in physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever it is, get yourself out of that situation. You do have the power to leave. You do have the power to figure it out. Put yourself first. Be compassionate to yourself. And then learn compassion for others. All these triggers are meant to teach us love, unconditional love, and compassion. That's it for me today. I love you so much. Thank you for spending some time with me. And as always, until next time, keep your vibrations way, way, way up. Bye.